Today's recipe is pasta bake. As the challenge becomes more difficult, a lot of the challenges you'll find that are hard is the multitasking. It's getting everything going at the same time, making sure that your sauce is correct while at the same time your pasta is cooked, your ingredients have all been prepared and cooked at the same time. So in a pasta bake, you can go very, very simple. Just do a very simple tomato ragu, add some vegetables with your pasta and add cheese over the top. Or you can add in the element of raw meat and you can be frying your chicken, you can be cooking your pasta, you can then be making, say, a tomato mascarpone sauce, or you could be making an arrabbiata sauce and adding in extra vegetables as well. In the middle, you can use cooked meats. You can already have cooked your pasta in advance, or it could be spare pasta from another meal and you can make a second dish out of it. The biggest challenge, which is obviously something we look at GCSE, would be to make your own pasta. So there will be separate tutorials on how this can be done if you fancied that challenge in the future. But for today, we are looking at making that pasta bake. So the ingredients I have got ready prepared pasta. It's already been cooked. I have passata, I have parma ham, I have mushrooms, spinach, cheese to go over the top, onion, a chilli, oregano and some garlic. So we're going to get the ingredients prepared on here first of all. Normally at this stage you'll be putting your pasta on to boil, but mine has already been cooked. So the first thing you should do is get your pasta on, and then we're preparing the ingredients, which I'll go through with you now and show you on a close-up how to prepare each of those ingredients. So first of all, I have an onion. I'm going to keep the root on to keep the layers together. Cut the top to trim it and then remove that outer skin a lot easier. Easier said than done, can't get a grip of the extra skin. Remove that along, and then I want the onions to be visible in my recipe today. So I'm going to do the rainbow slices. So I'm going to cut all the way across, nice thin strips to get the rainbow style slices of my onion. I've also got garlic to prepare and mushrooms as well. This is quite a large onion, so I think that will be enough. Discarding my waste to one side. Chilli, I am just going to put that into long thin strips again so that can be seen inside. Just bear in mind with chilli not to rub your eyes or any sensitive skin, as chilli will sting. You need to wash your hands once you've finished your vegetable preparation, unless you would like to have stinging eyes. Once we've done that, mushrooms, I'm just going to cut off any stalk and I'm just going to slice my mushrooms today. Popping those through. Sliced all the way along. I'll continue to do that once they're prepared. Spinach. If your spinach is baby spinach, there's not much to be done with it. If you've got larger leaves like this, you may want to remove to cut the stalks off, remove the stalks, as they can be quite woody, and then prepare the leaves. So those ones are all quite small. I'm just going to cut the stalks off. Now, if you want to, you can do something called a chiffonade. And a chiffonade is where we roll the leaves up like so, and then almost hold it like a claw grip and cut. And what happens is we're shredding. So you can do this with lettuce leaves, you can do this with herbs as well, and with spinach. So you end up with little slices like so. So the other thing to do is the garlic. So the garlic clove has the paper kind of coating on it. So we want to cut the top and the bottom off, and then this paper should slide off, so that could go in the waste. And then what we do, move the onions over to one side, is we can cut a couple of horizontal slices 3/4 of the way through. So I've not cut all the way through the garlic clove. A few slices down the centre, turn to the side, and then claw grip cutting through so that that is fine. Alternatively, you can use a garlic crusher. I just find them a bit of a messy, fiddly thing to clean. So now we've got the ingredients prepared, we can start to fry. The ham I will just shred in at the end as it's already cooked. Now that the ingredients are prepared, I have turned the pan onto medium heat, or number 4, so 4 for frying. We're frying on the front so that we've got a better control over the food that we are preparing. And I am going to be using a spatula to move those ingredients around. So first of all, we're going to add in onions or any other hard vegetables first of all, and allow those to fry. They just take a little bit longer to soften, and obviously we want to release those intrinsic sugars from the onions as well to really add to that natural sweetness that we want to create in our sauce, rather than adding in spoonfuls of sugar. So we're going to allow that to fry just for a couple of minutes. Then we'll add in the softer vegetables. So we'll add in the garlic and the chilli, and add in the mushrooms as well. Before adding in the passata, we've got oregano, salt and pepper, and then I've got the spinach to wilt down at the end. The ham doesn't need cooking at all, so that can just be stirred in before we combine it with the pasta, and then that can go in the oven with the cheese over the top. So onions are now nicely frying, and we can add in the chilli to start with. The chilli's quite large today because I've put it in as slices. You could add in peppers at this time as well. They're quite a hard vegetable. Courgettes, I would say, put those in with the mushrooms. They can go quite soggy. Any other ingredients that you might use in a pasta bake, sweet corn, etc., that could go in at the end. Any frozen vegetables. If you're doing something like broccoli that you want to put in, then you can actually add that to the boiling water with the pasta and allow that to boil separately, and then stir that in at the end. So pasta bake is a brilliant recipe for using up old ingredients, using up leftover pasta, any meats. You can do meat from a roast chicken. If you've had a roast chicken, you can then make a chicken pasta bake the next day with the cooked chicken. Or alternatively, you can be adding in your chicken. This would be the time that you would add in the raw chicken. So you cut it into slices, add that in at the beginning, either just before or with the onions, making sure that everything is completely white before you add in the softer ingredients. So I'm going to add in the garlic now and allow that just to cook for a minute. That's obviously got that small surface area, so we don't want to be burning it. We don't want to be creating the carbon that adds the bitterness to the flavour of the sauce. It would ruin that sauce. My onions are lovely and soft now, starting to really yellow. We don't want them to go brown. We just want to have that nice soft yellow texture. So now add in the mushrooms. Allow those to fry around for a couple of minutes with the garlic, and then we can move on to pop the sauce in, the spinach, and then leave that to simmer. If you've got time on your hands with this, add the sauce in, add the tomato puree, the tomato passata or the chopped tomatoes, and leave it. Spinach literally takes a couple of minutes just before you're going to combine it. If you're in a little bit of a rush, the sauce will cook in the oven, but ideally we want a good 10 minutes with that sauce first of all to reduce down, to thicken, get rid of that extra liquid that is in there. So they are nicely frying. Just want a little bit more colour to those mushrooms, and then we can add in the sauce. Another thing that you can add in, I'm not going to in today's recipe, but you can also add in a chicken stock cube or a vegetable stock cube to really intensify the flavour of your sauce with the passata. So you've got your onion, your garlic in there, you're adding in passata or chopped tomatoes, just a basic ragu. You could also add in some soft cheese to make it into a creamy pasta bake. I've got chilies in there, so mine's going to have a little bit of a kick to it anyway, so I don't want to add the cheese. I don't think the cheese and the chilli go very well. That's just my opinion. So now I'm going to add in the passata. It will spit a little bit, just allow that just to move itself around, and then we're going to leave that now on a 2 to simmer just while that sauce starts to really cook through. Once that's been on for 10 minutes, I'll come back and pop in the spinach and show you how to combine it with the pasta. Sauce has now been simmering for about 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is just using some scissors. I'm using Parma ham, so you can tear it, but sometimes it can get a little bit too stringy, is I'm just going to snip that Parma ham in so that that can really combine into the sauce, and add in that spinach. Ooh, big strip of Parma ham there. And then I'm going to add in the spinach to go with it as well. So Parma ham in, just cutting it down so that it doesn't end up tangled when you're trying to eat it. Pop that in there. And then I'm going to add in the spinach and allow that just to wilt down for a couple of minutes before we combine it and pop it in the oven. Now that we're ready to combine all the ingredients, the spinach has now wilted down completely. I'm just going to season with a little bit of salt and pepper, and I'm going to add in a pinch of the mixed herbs. You can add in fresh herbs at this stage if you have them. Basil is a good one, oregano, mixed herbs are fine as well, even parsley is okay. Stir those around, and then very, very carefully we're going to combine the pasta into the sauce. So if the pasta is quite cool, just be careful because it may just fly out and a little bit of a lump like that just did. So we want to just turning the sauce and the pasta over inside, really combining those over, trying to keep it inside the bowl. If you've got a deeper pan, this is obviously a lot easier. If not, you can pour the sauce over the pasta if you want to. It's just if you've got lots of other ingredients, lots of vegetables and meat, they may all just end up being on the top rather than being combined with the pasta. So it is good to try and coat all the pasta if you can before pouring it into a heat-proof dish that we can then pop in the oven. If you're doing this now and eating it straight away, you can get away with popping this under the grill just to gratinate that cheese. It's better to go in the oven if it's being reheated as well, but just remember to put it on a lower heat. So if it's going in the oven from cold, I'd put it on about 160, gas mark 4, making sure that you're putting it in the centre so you can keep an eye on it. Put it on the top shelf, you sometimes can't see it, to really heat it through. If you're wanting to put it in the oven from now, you can put it in at 200 just for 10 minutes and that will really crisp the top up. Alternatively, you can put it in the grill for 5 minutes and keep an eye on it. So pasta and sauce are now completely combined. I'm just going to see how much of this I can get into my pasta dish. I think it might all just fit in. Just keep hold of that. Perfect. All in, not wasting any ingredients at all. So that's all popped in there now, and then move that over to here, and then going to add the cheese over the top to really give that crispy stringy texture at the end. So it gives it a really nice coating on the top, but also lovely stringy texture. All that on there, and this is now ready to go into the oven. I'm going to pop my oven gloves on, pop this in the oven. Like I said, I'm going to put mine just onto 200 because it's going to be coming back out in about 10 minutes. Pop this into the oven and then I will show you the finished piece later. The pasta bake has now been baking for approximately 15 minutes. So I'm going to take it out so you can see the final finished product. As you can see, a well-baked, golden, slightly crispy pasta bake served for dinner.